For our first story, we have Aitah for wanting to divorce my husband over a birthday party and cake. Edit. Whoa, this blew up overnight. Let me start by answering a few common questions that seem to popping up in the comments. We have been together for almost 14 years. The oldest child is his, the middle two are mine and the youngest is ours. Yes, my husband does work in a labor-intensive job, so it made logical sense for me to pick up a second job when money was tight. The problems in our marriage are not new, but I struggle with standing up for myself when it comes to him. I did have one family member that attended the party and one friend. The friend was upset for me, and couldn't believe that he didn't try to ask her for help with planning. As for my marriage, there are other issues than this party, as many of you kindly pointed out. I constantly feel that I am walking on eggshells around him, and one of the children recently told me that they hate how he treats me. There was a recent altercation at a family event that brought our problems out in the open. I would say that 60% of the time that things are wonderful and 40% of the time I am unhappy. He let himself go in the last 5 years and hygiene has become a major issue for him. I struggle with this because I really take care of myself. He tends to overreact to the little things, which makes me feel that I can't tell him how upset I am. Today I will be contacting a marriage therapist, and I plan on finding a therapist for myself as well. I don't know if this marriage is salvageable, but I can't continue to live like this. I love this man with all of my heart, but I want to be with someone who wants to touch me and love me for me. I hope that the marriage counselor can help us figure out more. Throwaway account, as my husband and his family know my main one. I, 40 female, have been married to my husband Sam, 41 male, for 10 years. We have 4 children, 22, 16, 14 and 11, and up until the last few months, I genuinely thought that we could work through anything. This is not the only situation that has happened in the last few years, just the one that finally broke me. I recently had a birthday and Sam planned a surprise birthday party for me. He spilled the beans to me 3 days before the party, and I thought it was adorable that he was so excited about the party that he couldn't contain himself. I wish this was the case. Instead he told me that I needed to help him clean the house to get it ready for my party. Yes, you read that right, I needed to prepare food and set the house for my own party. I agreed to clean to keep the peace, but was upset. The day of the party quickly came and I was devastated to learn that he didn't invite most of my friends or family. He claimed that he didn't know how to contact them. The final straw came when he carried out a cake in a flavor that he loved, nothing that I would ever choose for myself. I barely managed to keep it in and cried in the bathroom after everyone left. I feel like an afterthought and hated listening to everyone compliment him for throwing me a party. I work 2 jobs, take care of the kids, do all of the meal planning, grocery shopping and most of the housework. I am exhausted and just wanted to feel appreciated for a day. Am I the ass for considering divorce because I feel he doesn't care? I just can't imagine throwing away 10 years of marriage, but I feel broken. That's the end of our first post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, "Not the asshole, tell him, I hope you enjoyed your birthday party. Now I don't have to throw you one when it's your birthday." Our second commenter says, "The reason for your divorce isn't a cake or the party. It's his self-centeredness. He decided to throw a party. The reason he gave his guests was your birthday, but it was for himself. He wasn't excited about the party and told you early, he needed you to clean and organize everything for it. He only invited his friends and family. 10+ years in and he can't contact your friends and family. He bought his favorite cake. He took all of the accolades and credit. You don't need someone in your life that has you feeling sad, unworthy, and used. Not the asshole." Our third commenter says, "Not the asshole, I get it. You want to feel seen. After 10 years, you deserve a partner that sees you, knows what's important to you, values you and actually shows it." For our second story, we have, "Am I the asshole for beating up a guy because he touched my wife inappropriately?" I, male 27 male married to my beautiful wife 25 female. She's the light of my life and I love her more than anything else. She's also carrying our first baby and is due in December. Now to the main point, my wife was sick of staying home and she wanted to go out for some errands. I asked her if she wanted me to tag along with her, but she said she wanted some alone me time and she went alone. Fast forward, after an hour or two she calls me crying and said that a guy was harassing her. My wife and I share our location, so I drove to her as soon as possible. I may have broken speed limits, but I didn't care, my wife needed me. As soon I reached, I could see a guy mostly in his mid-20 inches groping my wife. I swear people was just watching it happen in broad daylight? WTF? My eyes went red and I went charging, resulting to the guy having a broken nose and a black eye. The Guy family pressed charges against me for beating up their son, but IDGAF? My wife is on my side, but my parents, cousins said I was a bit rough and I could have handled the situation better? So Reddit, am I the asshole? Edit. Since many of you have been asking me this, I'll clarity it here. Why didn't she call 911? We are not from USA. We are both Indians and it took place in Delhi around 12:30 p.m. today. As many of you know how being an Indian really is, people there won't help you. They'll just look at the show and pass by. My wife was at the departmental store and this guy walked up to her asking for her number, to which she said no and she walked away. His male ego got hurt and he started to follow her from afar. My wife knew that he was following her and she got scared and was in tears, calling me up and letting me know that a guy was following her around. Obviously I had to go for the run and the next minute I was there he was groping my wife? I'm guessing he's from a well-off family and that is why his family pressed charges against me, or else being an Indian no one will do that unless she is from an influential family. Thankfully I have the CCTV and I've contacted my lawyer and I'll meet him tomorrow and hopefully tomorrow I don't break his face again. That's the end of our second post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, pressing charges are they? Well good, that means that little sex pest can get on the sex offenders register in return. You know what to do. Our second commenter says, how could you have handled the situation better when your wife asking that guy to stop was not listened? Can you provide some evidence of the harassment, like cameras, witnesses? Press charges too. Our third commenter says, not the asshole, your wife is lucky to have you. For our third story, we have, am I the asshole for wanting my husband to get snipped? My husband, 33 male, and I, 31 female, have 4 kids. I almost had a stroke during the birth of our last baby a year ago. He has even said that he wants no more kids at all. I asked him to get a vasectomy while I was pregnant so after we wouldn't have to worry about having any more, but he never got around to it. Now, in just the year since I've had our last baby, I've had hysterectomy scheduled for next summer. So I was like, okay cool, I'm not gonna bother him about it, but I've also had my IUD taken out and a new one put in 3 times. This last one being this past Thursday. The doctor even put the number for vasectomy consultation on my papers for my husband to call, because even he sees the shit my birth control is putting me through and it would be better if I just got off all forms altogether. I can't do pills, patches, shots because of my blood pressure. I haven't said anything. I joked that the doctor put the number in my after-visit papers, but I would be lying if I said him just blowing me off wasn't pissing me off. All he's said is he's afraid it's gonna hurt. But at the same time expects me to go in and get shit shoved through my cervix. I feel like an asshole for wanting him to do it, but at the same time, obviously I'm not doing good with our current birth control methods. Edited so I don't have to answer this a bunch more times. My hysterectomy is medically needed, not for birth control. I have a few issues, but the big one is adenomyosis, but the no more periods and no baby risk is a plus. I can't move the surgery. My baby is too little for me to not be able to love on her for 3 months. She just turned 1 in July. My doctor said I won't be able to lift anything more than a bath towel for 12 weeks. I also had to get my blood pressure under control before my surgery. I want him to get a vasectomy because I know he won't wait until after my surgery and the 12 weeks after. Condoms are a no, cause a torn condom is how our oldest was born. Am I forcing him? No. Is it pissing me off? Yes. But his only reason has been that it'll hurt. Also, 3 kids are from me. 1 is my husband's daughter, but I count her as mine. That's the end of our third post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, word of advice: if he does, make sure he returns to verify it is done right. I didn't link will be 34 in December. Plus it leads to lively conversation with your spouse. Our second commenter says, this sounds like an abstinence is the best policy situation. Tell him you are going to have to abstain from potential baby making until one of you no longer can make the babies. Our third commenter says, tell husband that there will be no sex until your surgery next year. You are no longer taking responsibility of birth control. Your body has had enough. Give him the number from your doctor. He is afraid it is going to hurt? Not as much as repeatedly having IUDs, childbirth, a stroke and a hysterectomy hurts. It is his time to do his part. That's all for today. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.